he lost, but in the eyes of the public, the entertaining public, he would be 0-2.
That's all that matters, Luke. You know, I don't mean to cut you off, but when we talk about exhibition fights, and you said it, you know, for Floyd, his record's not on the line. It is, though. It is. If Floyd were to lose tomorrow night, which is a big if, but let's say Floyd lost, we all know he lost. He got caught with a shot and lost that fight. That will be a loss. Whether the commission says it or whatever,
right.
The public knows.
Yeah.
And that viral clip of him getting knocked out will live on forever.
Right.
Vice versa. If Logan Paul gets knocked out, that's going to be a viral clip forever.
And we should make a point here to note that the rules for this bout, again, it is an exhibition. They are unusual even by exhibition standards. Here's what I mean. It'll be 8 rounds, 3 minutes. That's somewhat curtailed. The part that's interesting is there's no judges. There will be no announced winner. But Florida, being Florida, God bless them, they are allowing knockouts. In other exhibitions you've seen this year, they did not do that. So the gloves are on, but metaphorically speaking, BC,
well,
they're a little bit
not
off.
only that, they were originally 12 ounces to start. Floyd got that negotiated down by challenging Logan down to 10 ounces. Floyd was even trying to go further. He's saying, how about we go to 8 ounces? That's what I boxed with as a welterweight. So
I would have loved that.
Those rules aside, yeah, why would you?
Hand speed or?
Hand speed, the increase of a knockout, because again, there's a part of me as a purist, if this thing goes longer than 4 rounds and Floyd doesn't absolutely flawlessly dominate, it's tough. As a purist, it's tough, man. It's a huge black eye on boxing. I got to be honest.
Do you think so? Is boxing, you think in your mind boxing is sort of on the line here?
I do, and I also don't think this fight would happen if boxing wasn't such a... it's not like UFC, right? UFC, we get the fights we want to see for the most part. In boxing, we don't. And that's why this rears its head, and these guys come out and do this stuff.
And also, Floyd's retired. He's not taking fights away from other top contenders looking to advance.
True.
This is a little bit to the side.
But look, we can't overlook what we just established. The reputation is on the line for Floyd. But the idea that he's fighting for boxing is interesting. And I talked to Floyd's right-hand man, Leonard Ellerby, Luke and I did as well, where Leonard said, I've never seen Floyd received as the babyface, if we're using pro wrestling terms, received as the hero. He's either been the villain naturally,
he's the heel.
He's purposely been the heel to make a lot of money. Is he really fighting for boxing though? Like, Luke, is that still a thing? I mean, as traditional boxing fans, the one that say they're not buying this, but you know they will.
I think,
are they cheering for him to...
Here's where I'm at on this. I wonder how you gentlemen feel. You can't overstate the case. You know what? Let's pause. We'll come back. We'll answer that. Let's go back to the live stage for more entertainment.
Ooh.
DJ Khaled, we the best.
If you ready for kick, gotta put your hands up in the sky one time.
The runners, I represent the ghetto across the world, and you represent the hood. 2 hands in the sky.
I'm so, I wear my pants below my waist and I never dance when I'm in this place cause you and your man was planning to hate. We from the hood. And I got these goals up in my mouth. If you get closer to your house, then you know what I'm talking about. We out the hood.
And if you feel
put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up. Put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up. If you not from here, you can walk it out. If you not hood and you don't know what I'm talking about. Everybody wanna motherfucking know why I dress so fly, sit so high, bitch. I do it for the hood. Bitch ass niggas, I do it cause I could. Heavy stars in my jeans, please. 4X in a white tee. I live a life like a G, that's why these bitch ass niggas wanna fight me. But I ain't gon' play with them. I'd rather let the AK hit them. Tough niggas get fucked up and put on ice for the rest of their life. I'm straight out the hood, bruh. See, that's who I do it for. And my low class ghetto ass just renews my ghetto pants. Yeah, I wear my pants and on my waist and I never dance when I'm in this place. Cause you and your man was planning to hate. I'm so hood. And I got these goals up in my mouth. If you get closer to my house, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm out the hood. Put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up. Hood. Put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up. I'm so hood.
if you not from here, you can
walk it out.
And you not hood if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm so motherfucking hood. What a sound man in. Well, I can't. Who controlling the mics? Where you at? Make sure you can hear me, man. I bet I got everything better than Floyd, too. Fuck that. And I'm praying Ocho don't get knocked out like Nate. Come on, let's play the Dade County theme song right quick.
Hey, listen, let me hear you say Trick Daddy. Say Trick Daddy. Say Trick Daddy. Say Trick Daddy. Say we finna get this bitch out the chain. We finna get this bitch out the chain.
Anybody wanna motherfucking die? Come see I, who, me, T, double D, nigga. That's right, that's motherfucking me, nigga. And goddamn it, if I said it, I motherfucking fit it. If it was fully, I motherfucking spit it. Fuck whoever I offended. Hold on.
Wait one motherfucking minute. What we doing? Still riding them big wheels.
Still fly, still grinding.
Getting big
checks.
Still leaning to the bag.
To the bag.
And you can bet that.
Yo, and you can bet that. I ride, I shine, nigga.
And you can bet that.
I smoke, I drink, go
and
low.
You can bet that.
22, 24's how we roll. I'm a dumb rider for sure. Every day, me and my dogs, we wild.
We wild.
7 Trey, 7-5, don't ride.
Don't ride.
And we ain't tripping on nothing, just vibing. Big 9 with me, case a
fuck nigga try me.
They already know.
No.
I let it go. Kill his ass and make sure that it's gonna roll. But how the hell a OB gon' try me? Well, I'm OG holding off DVC. Middle fingers in the air, tellin' fuck y'all. Trying to hate on my dog, hell fuck no. Why you hating on a nigga like that? Why you trying to stab a nigga in his back? I know some niggas don't like this, and them niggas is the reason I'm like this. Fuck nigga that made me mad. I'm about to snap and put this K on his ass. Sitting high, still riding them big whips.
Still fly, still grinding, getting big
checks.
Still thugging, still leaning to the bag. And you can bet that.
Yo, and you can bet that. I ride, I shine, nigga, you know. I smoke, I drink, go loco. 22, 24's how we roll. I'm a dog rider for sure. Y'all acting bougie as fuck in this motherfucker. Y'all acting, but they should have gave out some liquor, cause you know people act different on that motherfucking liquor. Let's go, Chronic.
Let's go. Hey, Dade County, put your motherfucking hands up. If you from Dade County, put your motherfucking hands up and let's get live in this bitch.
Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go.
If you want it, you can get it. Let me know.
Let me know.
I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go.
Come get some. Where I'm from with your big gun. And everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And I want answers now. Who, what, when, where, and why. A lot of dudes like to act the fool and I'll get online, but that ain't my style. Know who you gon' get and what he gon' do. Run up on me if he want to. I damn pressing his homie. I get that up in front of his mama. I mop up the flow with him. I kick in the door and let the fofo hit him. I got dudes that'll go get him. That's for him, his crew, and the food that roll with him. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go.
If you want it, you can get it. Let me know.
Let me know.
I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go.
The AK go chop, 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 chop. They say they don't give a fuck how many records you sold or nothing. You got to get off stage in 5 or 10 minutes. But I like to thank everybody that always supported Trick Daddy, supported down south music. I remember about 20 years ago, they ain't want to play none of our shit. We used to go all over the world. You never heard Miami music. All they wanted was the girls and the cocaine. That's all they wanted. I had to make them respect us, so I dropped this record right here. You don't know now, nigga. That'll represent like me. Who'll sex and shit like me. One who'll lay the dick like me. Yeah, you don't know now, nigga. Who'll do the shit that I do. Run through your whole little crew. Pay for it if I got to. You don't know now, nigga. Who'll run up in your house. Put the gun up your brains out. Cause you don't know now, nigga. Who'll fall off in the club? Free drinks for the show some love. And play the ball for the thugs, but you don't know now, nigga. Who know more niggas than me? Who do more killers than me? And way more dope dealers than me, bitch. You don't know now, nigga. No. Bitch, you don't know now, nigga. No. You don't know now, nigga. That dress fresher than me. And you don't know now, nigga. That way more polo shit than me, bitch. You don't know now, nigga. Who do more freaky stuff? And he put you in the eggs up. Then I blow it all in your butt. I don't know now, ho. Who like the dick like you? Who'll bite the dick like you? Hold a dyke and bitch like you. I don't like a bitch like you. I fight a bitch like you. Whole type of bitch like you. Ain't no telling what you want to do, bitch. You don't know now, nigga. No. You don't know now, nigga. No. You don't know now, nigga. So where my ladies at? My ladies, y'all go see this water.
You don't know now, ho. Done been to places I've been.
Yo, I'm out of here. I love y'all, man.
Yeah, that's like that. Hit him in the chest with it. One time again in the head. With Buddy Roll, y'all. Check it out.
I don't know.
There you have it, Trick Daddy, Miami legend, but we have other business to attend to at the moment, which of course will be the impending Mayweather versus Paul weigh-ins. Hello everyone, Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, Brendan Schaub, and at the end of the table, or I should say the row, one of the most distinguished combat athletes of our generation herself. She is currently the Bellator Women's Featherweight Champion. It's Chris Cyborg. Chris, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How's it going to be great here?
Yeah, right?
It's nice to have you. What do you think of this entire event?
I love it. I think it's great for sport. I think a lot of people, Logan Paul fans, come here to watch the fights, come to the boxing world, and I'm really happy.
Now, you don't, how long do you think this fight's going to go?
I think Mayweather going to play a little bit, finish the time he want to finish.
You're right?
But I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Agree.
Chris, you've been the champion in so many different organizations, different eras of this sport. You've seen it all. Obviously, this is a different type of boxing. How interested would you be in this kind of crossover event, whether it be against a boxer, against a celebrity? Does that interest you at this point in your career?
No, I've been playing, asking if Jake Paul have a sister or ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, right?
You know.
But you've done the crossover thing. You fought Urena Bars in kickboxing. You've done the real thing.
Yes,
no exhibition before.
Yes, you know, and Urena Bars was one of the best in kickboxing.
Monster.
A very tough fight.
That was a tough fight.
And I didn't know either.
Yeah.
You know, I go over there and then fought, and I don't have a girl to me fight. She's 3 years of fighting, and that's after fight. I love challenge, and this is the good thing.
What about like a Clarissa Shields in a super fight? I knew you guys sparred together, trained together. Have you guys seen that footage?
I know
Clarissa Shields.
You and Clarissa Shields are friends, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. But if you pay good.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a sport. It's a sport. You know, I don't hate my opponents. It's a sport, of course. I would like to fight her, but if it happens, it would be good for both. You know, why not?
Yep.
Now, your contract, it does allow you to box, as I understand?
Yes, if I talk to Scott Coker and then they let me, yes.
But you're right now, you just had a big win. You defend your title against Leslie Smith.
Yes.
It might be Alpha Cat Zingano next. Still, down the road, being here and seeing this and thinking about your future, would you be interested in something like this if the opportunity was right?
You know, for sure. I think the first thing why I signed with Bellator MMA is because I have the opportunity to do another things, especially a boxing fight. I love challenge, and for sure I would like to do one boxing fight and see what's the next for the future for me.
Chris, you're an absolute legend in your game. Floyd Mayweather is the best of this era, among the best of all time.
Yes.
What do you see in him as an athlete that you can learn from, that you admire and look up to?
You know, he's smart and he's very calm when he's fighting. If you see me in my next fight, I try a little bit. You know, within 5 rounds doing it, I work with this. I work a lot of patience in my fight. I have a lot of some mistakes in my career because I use so much emotion, but you have to be cold and, you know, see the opportunity when I finish the fight. This last fight, I did this. I work every moment. I think every moment in the fight, and then listen everything, single thing in the corner. I work this for more patience in the fight, and then finish the time is supposed to the moment right.
So when Mayweather fought McGregor, you had no doubt Mayweather was going to win, right?
No, for sure, yes.
Yeah, the level's just too high.
Yes, it's different. It's different, you know. You're like a white belt, a black belt. It's different.
But still, okay, we all think Floyd's going to win. He'll win probably however he wants. Logan is a big guy, about 190 pounds long. If you were Logan and you had to fight Floyd, what would you do?
Great question.
You know, I think you have to survive, he do his best. And I know if he touch it, Mayweather is gonna be hard because it's punching hard. But you know, Mayweather is fast. He's gonna have to try use his power.
What about a little tie clinch? Just let it go, right?
Maybe take down.
Get a little dirty. Yeah, a little takedown in there. Yeah.
Hey, in a sport where not everybody has the greatest ink and tattoo game, Brendan, he's lit up. He knows what he's doing here. The champ over here, she's got some
She's got some
stuff.
great work. How long did it take to get all that?
A little while. I started with 19.
Yeah.
My mom not happy about, but yeah. And I finished already. I know it's too much pain. I don't want to handle it.
I think my favorite tattoo is the forearm one.
Yes, the name.
That's the legendary one, right?
Yeah, some people look at me, they think it's cyber, they look at my arm, I cannot hide anymore.
They can identify you right away. All right, so you just fought, what, last month, I think?
Two weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay, so when do you think you might get back out there? It might be Zingano, we don't know yet. In a perfect world, when does Cyborg fight again?
No, I ask Scott Cook anytime. I'm good, I'm no injury, I'm training. Anytime, in 2 months, I'm ready.
2 months?
Yes.
Wow, do you have any plans to maybe, it's going to be 145 no matter what from here on out?
Yes, 145, yes.
You won't even contemplate any weight? What about 155? Would you do 155?
I would like to fight 55. 55, and I have to lose a little bit of weight, but it's going to be perfect too.
All right, before we let you go, you got to give us some kind of a prediction, Chris. Mayweather, Paul, what round does it end in?
Let's get a 7.
Wow.
You think it goes that long?
Maybe.
Okay.
I want to sell the fight. You have to sell the fight.
Yes.
You know, I don't know, 7 because I like number 7. It's never perfection of God. 7.
7. Okay. Well,
Let's
there you
go.
have it. Well, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again. Chris Cyborg, the Bellator Women's Featherweight Champion of the World. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Great stuff.
Okay, someone has to... Yes, there we go. Ashley, taking her sweet time. You know, that's fun here.
A group of celebrities waiting to chat with us.
Let's reset here for just a second if we can. Brendan Shaw, Brian Campbell, Luke Thomas. All right, Brendan, we had stopped previously before the Trick Daddy performance to ask a question about, is boxing sort of on the line reputationally? Here was the one point that I wanted to make. When these MMA fighters lose, all of us in MMA say, well, it may or may not kind of matter. It's, you know, these guys they're not fighting MMA. They're moving into something else. So how representative can it be? That's at least the argument. But still, you get enough of those L's, it adds up. Floyd is just one person, but he's Floyd Mayweather. He's a boxing institution.
Yes.
I kind of do think there's a little bit on the line, as individual as it might be for Floyd.
100%. You know, even if you go back to Jake Paul and Ben Askren, as a former UFC fighter, as much as I like the Paul brothers and Jake, I wanted Ben to win. And I talked to Ben like, you're representing MMA, you're representing UFC. Do you feel that pressure? He's like, yeah, I feel like even my haters are like, man, I hope you beat Jake Paul. Like, the MMA community rally around their guy as much, even if they hate him. And when he was competing in UFC, and you know, he talked all that trash, and he was the heel most of the fights, and you know, obviously people are happy to see the Masvidal knockout. The community still rallied around him because he was our guy.
Right.
Floyd is boxing's guy, man. He's the face of boxing. I think it's crazy that you don't, not that, I'm not saying you guys, but for society to not think the pressure's on Floyd here.
I think, yeah.
To represent boxing as a whole.
Floyd has worked so hard to be undefeated, but so has Father Time. And someday it's going to catch him. I'm not trying to oversell this for Sunday night, but someday
I'm not either, but like when I had Jake Paul on Food Truck Diaries, you know, he goes, you know, as fighters, sometimes you have a bad night. So we got to hope Floyd has a bad night. Logan has a real good night. And Floyd's missed a step. I went, whoa, Bubba, you got to hope Floyd's missed 10 steps.
Right.
One step's not enough.
You got to hope he drives to the wrong arena.
You got to hope he shows up with binoculars.
Well, let's continue this conversation, but joining us now on stage is another luminary from the Bellator family. He will be fighting. We don't know the date just yet, but we know the opponent and we know the stakes. It will be for the Bellator featherweight title, the winner of the Grand Prix. This gentleman is one half of the finals. It's AJ McKee. AJ, welcome. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
And I want to put this out there. I picked him to win it from the jump. I want that on record. From the jump.
All right, fair enough.
Stump the shop over here.
What's up, Doug? Remember that guy?
AJ, you may be the best dressed man in the building right now.
You look good, man.
Thank you, good.
man. I learned from you guys.
Let me see the watch. Yeah, that's a nice watch.
Wait for the next one. Shout out the Newport Watch Club, man.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
All right.
AJ, I want to start there with the Pitbull fight because there's so, I mean, it's so big that I've heard longtime guys in the industry say this might be the biggest fight in Bellator history. If you identify with that, sell me on why.
Why? I mean, just look at Pitbull's accolades alone. 145, 155-pound champ. Just the name Pitbull alone, it's been ringing in Bellator for so long. He's been the champ since I first signed to Bellator, so 17 fights he's held that world title. Once again, you got the Floyd Mayweather of MMA standing in front of him. I've called his name since I signed, so I'm looking forward to going in there and just putting my first mark on my legacy and continuing my father's.
Papa, he called himself the Floyd Mayweather of MMA. That's big ones, they call that where I
Big ones, big huevos.
Yeah.
Big huevos. Do you see any holes in Pitbull's game? It's tough, right? He's a pretty dominant fighter.
He's a dominant fighter, but styles make fights, and you know that.
Yeah.
For me, my style is just so superior to him. The reach, he has to get past the reach. On top of, once he gets past the reach, he has to deal with the elbows, the knees. If he takes me down, I'm comfortable off my back. So for me, I just got to go out there and fight a smart fight, you know what I mean? Don't leave any loopholes and just expose him of his.
Yep. AJ, what do you make of this? It's almost like Floyd Mayweather is fighting a fan, you know?
It is. It's entertainment, you know what I mean? Floyd said it himself. He said, I don't fight anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is a great opportunity. It's a great marketing exposure. It's surreal to me, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, that's what I need. I wanted to fight Floyd. I want to fight Floyd. Like, that's the exposure I need. I need to get that paycheck, you know what I mean? That just to solicit yourself as that echelon of the elite fighters. So it's going to be a big move, but I think he ruffled Floyd's feathers the wrong way this fight, taking his hat.
How long do you think it goes?
I'll tell you what is true, though.
As long as Floyd wants, right?
Exactly. As long as Floyd, I think he's going to probably soften his body up. He might just hurt him to the body and really punish him.
Agree 100%.
Because the height's going to be
an issue, yeah.
If Logan Paul asked you for one piece of advice in this fight, what would you give him?
Great question.
Don't take the fight?
Yeah. Pretty much. Just get after him. You know what I mean? Go in there like a shark smelling blood.
Right, you're not going to beat Floyd over the long haul, so it's 100 miles an hour. Just go.
He's got to get him out of there in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
If he doesn't, it's a wrap.
All right, we're short on time. Do you know when your finals for the Bellator Featherweight Grand Prix is going to be yet?
Where it's going to be?
When?
When? No. Hopefully it'll be in LA. I get to fight back home and bring that world title and my $1 million check.
So there's a chance it won't be at Mohegan. They could move it around.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Correct.
Well, you know what? We can't wait to see it. We appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy the craziness tomorrow, and we can't wait to see you fight whenever that may be.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you so
me,
much.
guys.
AJ
Appreciate
McKee.
it.
Don't let me down.
Nah,
You're my
you.
guy.
Hey, bet on a second-round finish.
You got it.
Oh, okay.
And I like to bet. So,
Yes, you do. You are a degenerate. That is true. All right, we think we're just moments away from going back to the stage for just a second. Real quickly, BC, we haven't talked about it, and we'll get back to it a little bit later as well. Chad Ochocinco's on this card. Chad Johnson, the former NFL player.
Big draw.
I got to say, he's had a completely different attitude than what I thought he was going to have.
He's been humble. He says, I'm out of my element, and I want to respect that. He's going in there against Brian Maxwell, a 33-year-old who's got like a little bit of boxing experience, a little bit more BKFC experience, but this is fish out of water. He's got the guts to do it in the old
Would you want to box a guy who won at BKFC? I'm not sure that I would.
No, what kind of savage signs up for bare knuckle fighting? I fought in the UFC for a long time. I would not fight a guy who decided to do a bare knuckle boxing match, especially if I'm Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bad idea for him.
He's a great athlete. He looked to be in tremendous shape when we saw him yesterday when you stopped by the set. So I don't think he's physically unprepared. But there's a question like, dude, if you fought in boxing and you won at bare knuckle, you're probably a very tough, scrappy person who's had to, like, your whole life has probably been somewhat
and you know how it is. Yeah, and you know how it is, like, especially if you don't have boxing experience, like if you go to Golden Gloves and it's like a newer guy, the toughest guy always wins, always breaks the other guy. That's kind of what's going on here. I don't
like the first night in jail too.
Yeah, with the matchmaking, I don't know what Chad Ochocinco's first one. I feel like it's a bad idea.
Did you ever box when you trained?
Yeah, I was a Golden Gloves champion.
But I mean, like with the shoes on.
Oh, yeah.
3-minute rounds.
Big time. Yeah, with DeVero Williamson, Touch of Sleep.
Touch of Sleep.
Yeah, I would spar with him every Tuesday. It's just that.
What was so hard about, from an MMA perspective, doing the boxing rules? What was so hard about it?
Their angles, he would see things before it even happened, so it almost felt like I was in, I was in water. He could see everything. It's just the gap is so huge to try and make up for that.
Right.
It was almost to be honest, it was a waste of time.
Right. So that fight will be on the card. Obviously, Mayweather-Paul will be the headliner. There is one, I would call it, very real, very traditional boxing fight on this.
Well, two of them, but one of them is there's some heat in it.
Which, of course, will be the Jared Hurd fight,
Jared
correct?
Swift Hurd, the former unified champion, 154 pounds, moving up to 160 for what he says is just a stopover before he's got unfinished business. But the guy in front of him, Luis Cuba Arias, and, B, you've run into guys before. You maybe can look at him and say, I know I'm better than you technically, but you got some dog in you. And I think that's created a little bit of tension there.
Right. If the skill gap is close, maybe one's better, but the other one's the dog, that makes up for a lot.
Yeah, man. Big time, especially in boxing, especially at this level. All these guys are pretty freaking good, and they have so much experience. That's a good fight. Great fight.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Of course, we will get to more of those details. We have a lot of different fights to break down. But the crown jewel, Floyd Mayweather taking on Logan Paul, 8 rounds, 3 minutes a pop. Well, I guess we're going to see what happens. We're just moments away from going to the stage, and I believe the weigh-ins are going to get started. You're going to be up there as well, right?
Yes.
Brian Campbell's going to be there talking to them, getting them some questions.
Are they allowing Jake Paul in the building? Because there's going to be some shenanigans if
I'm
they
looking
do.
up at the ceiling. I really
know he's going to be at the fight tomorrow.
Oh, really? I heard he wasn't allowed to.
No, he got a weigh in.
Wow, good for him.
I
think
Logan
signing a SHOWTIME boxing deal maybe helped.
Oh, we got him. There we go.
Right. But I don't know if he's here, because this is actually a Mayweather Promotions event, so they may have told Jake to take a hike.
I would hold your breath on that. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens.
Floyd knows what's good for business. Jake's good for business. I bet they let him in.
Yeah, Jake is probably going to be. Real quickly, while we wait to go there, the Jake and Tyron Woodley fight, for folks who may not know, Logan Paul's brother, Jake Paul, is taking on Tyron Woodley, who is one of the more decorated welterweight champions in UFC history. If you don't know welterweight in MMA, it's 170 pounds. We're talking about a guy who was a Big Ten wrestling champion. He's huge, bricked up, a little bit long in the tooth. The end of his UFC run was bad. It was not great. But here he is boxing. This, to me, though, feels different than this one. Logan has an enormous hill to climb. Tyron Woodley's a very decorated champion, but he is longer in the tooth. He did lose a bunch of fights in the UFC before he got cut, or I guess released, depending on how you want to look at it. But that's a winnable fight for Jake. Legitimately winnable.
Vegas thinks so.
Yeah, he's the favorite, right? Barely, but he's the favorite.
Yeah, Jake's the favorite in that fight, which I'm surprised by, and I think that, talking to Jake, I think that gives him a little credit that he's looking for people to start to realize that the kid can actually box. For him to be a favorite over Tyron Woodley is insane to me, man. It's just insane.
I don't think
he's bigger. People forget how much bigger he is, which you mentioned.
Did you see the face?
He has been studying.
He's taller. You look at Woodley's even his UFC fights. He's a short guy for the division, but he's jacked.
Yeah, he's jacked.
And he has more power than anybody Jake's ever been with, whether it's in training, inside the ring. So it's a real fight for Jake.
Look, I love the face-off because they were talking trash. There was energy. I thought somebody was going to get thrown through a glass door or something. It was wild. Do you think, though, that's the best strategy for Woodley, to come in and demean this guy and think, I'm just going to knock him out and talk trash, be an equal troll with him? Or do you think it's better to come in there and really study the angles and respect the game and realize this guy does have some boxing experience?
I know Woodley does respect Jake to a certain extent, but what worries me is Woodley goes, this is going to be the night of my career.
No,
and I go, God, I don't like that attitude,
right.
Woodley, because if you underlook this guy, if you overlook him, you're going to run some problems, man.
And the other part was, that was an MMA fight, his last fight against Vicente Luque, but one of the lessons that we had talked about on Morning Combat, Brian and I host a show together, was that, okay, he was a little bit listless in the loss to Kamaru and the loss to Colby and maybe some of the other ones.
He was checked out.
And Gilbert Burns. But the loss to Vicente Luque, okay, he rocked Luque, no doubt about it. No one would ever say Woodley doesn't have a huge punch and isn't athletic. But he had to fight, Tyron Woodley's very intelligent. And he had to fight outside of that to get the vigor going. And so he wasn't really his calculated self. That was not the Woodley that hit the pull 2 counter on Till.
Yeah, it was desperate acts of a desperate man in a lot of ways. Who should he be, the calculated guy or the guy that goes after Jake Paul's chin right away?
I mean, you're boxing, right? So you're totally out of your element.
A little bit, but at the same time, Woodley's a wild card trained guy. He's been there, I think he said, since 2007 at wild card training on specifically boxing. And then Woodley goes, and for me, I don't have to worry about a takedown. I can just focus on landing that big overhand. He's like, dude, this is this is a dream come true. My biggest concern with Woodley is how much do you want to do this? Because when I watch his fights, that Vicente Luque fight, he said he was out of pocket. Really not the Woodley we know.
Right.
But I felt like desperation, so he just let things fly there.
Yep.
You look at the Usman fight, the Colby Covington fight. To me, that's a Woodley who does not want to be in there. And he admitted, he goes, I was just living a fast life, man. I wasn't training like I should. I was doing all this stuff. I was on the go. I wasn't eating right, not training right, not getting rest. I was just going through the motions.
Right.
So, you know, if he goes through the motions against Jake Paul, he's going to get knocked out.
And in fairness to Woodley, to a degree, he did have the 3 losses first before the Vicente Luque fight, but he got wrestled in all of those. He got totally, I mean, yes, Burns did well with striking, but I'm just saying a lot of the way in which all those guys were able to win, the Covingtons, the Burnses, the Usman, they had to take him to the mat, they had to hold him down. Obviously, that's completely not a relevant factor here whatsoever. Still, he is 39. He'll be 39 when they fight.
For a long time.
That's a little bit old for that weight class, I feel like.
I mean, he has explosive power, and I think that's what you got to lean on. In these celebrity-ish fights, this is the equivalent of a fighter having only 3 pro bouts, what Jake Paul does.
Yep.
They're not always the most scientific. It can come down to one big punch. So Woodley is that guy where he's a live dog at the very least because of that. You have
to me, that the biggest thing in that fight is does Woodley want to do it? Is the passion there? If it is, we got to fight our hands. If it's not, he's gonna get embarrassed. But I do want to say this. I think it's fantastic that Jake, in his 4th fight, is fighting a guy in Woodley. To me, that's a real legit fight.
Yeah.
Woodley is not an easy fight, man. You know, you hear Stephen A. Smith like, he needs to find a boxer, dude. It's his 4th fight.
Right.
And millions of people are buying this.
And he has no amateur experience either.
Literally 4th fight.
Right.
Literally 4th fight.
Right.
And fighting a guy in a vet in Woodley, to me, is insane.
Yeah, at that point,
you have to respect it.
Yeah, no. I think certainly of all of the exhibition stuff I've seen, Jake's move to take on Woodley is an overture towards seriousness. In fact, between he and Logan Paul, you know Logan better than Jake, right?
Correct.
For the audience's sake, what are some of the bigger differences between them? I guess from a personality standpoint.
Yeah, you know, Jake's known as the wild child. He has like kind of this careless, reckless attitude, but he has both of them, and I think comes from their father, you know, a blue-collar guy in Ohio. They have this crazy work ethic, whether it's, you know, making YouTube content. You know, they don't miss a week making that content, making it go viral. They're brilliant at that. But they've used that same work ethic and brought it to boxing. And granted, it's only been 3 years, but with their resources, they're getting the best of the best. So, you know, I think for Jake, he's a little more calculated. He's a little more calculated in it. And to him, signing with Showtime, to me, shows that he's taking this serious.
Yeah.
I also think he realizes Woodley's a tough fight because in their contract, if Woodley beats him, it's an automatic rematch. So to me, he knows he's going into some deep waters.
And, you know, I spent some time with him in Puerto Rico in their camp, and Jake badly wants the respect as a real fighter. He wants you to give him the respect for the work he puts in. Where Logan is more like, I'm crashing your party, bro, and I'm going to make this into a meme.
Right.
And that's what he's going to try to do Sunday night.
Right. It seems to me that Jake is more trying to make himself a fixture in the sports or the combat sports world. I think Logan, I guess we'll have to see what happens on Sunday. I suspect it will go poorly for him in terms of the winning and losing scenario, but it's almost like do you foresee this being not long-term? How much longer, I guess that was what I would ask, do you think Logan Paul will do this, assuming that, let's say, Sunday is not a calamity for him?
Yeah. To your point, I think Jake's in a marathon, and, you know, he's going to have way more fights than Logan. And I think Logan's on a sprint, and this is a stop. He stopped fueling up on celebrity, getting more views, getting more famous. He's all over national news now, which before he was kind of just this YouTube guy, which is a huge audience. But, you know, he's on mainstream outlets now. So to me, for Logan, it's a stop. I would be disappointed if Jake's next fight was Floyd Mayweather. That's not his plan.
I want to ask you, we're about to see them get on the scales. Then they're going to face off. And that's what everybody wants to see. You've been there before at the highest level with the UFC. It's intense. But if you're Logan Paul and you've already had the moment, the viral moment of the build when the brother stole the hat. It was gotcha hat. What do you do if you're Logan Paul? Do you try to get Floyd Mayweather's respect? Do you try to go crazy? Conor was rock hard with emotion and acting like a crazy man opposite Floyd. What would you do if you were him?
I think to me a little disappointing if there's nothing. Like if Jake doesn't come out and do something, or if Logan doesn't do something. For what they do, like they know it's going to go viral and sell the fights. And Logan wants the most money possible. If it's just a relaxed Logan, that's not really in their nature, man. There's going to be, I would assume, something. There's going to be something.
We're going to have to see what happens. And, in fact, we're going to do that right now. Let's throw it to the stage to the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in Hollywood, Florida, as we present the official weigh-in for our exhibition featured attractions taking place tomorrow night at Hard Rock Stadium. And it's all brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, FanMio, Mav Athletics, and Showtime Pay-Per-View. Well, tomorrow night's pay-per-view event opens up with a 4 2-minute round exhibition bout. At this time, we invite our fighters onto the stage at this time. Please welcome them. First, no stranger to combat sports, a versatile MMA, boxing, and bare knuckle fighter. Please welcome to the stage, Brian Maxwell. And now his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, from Miami, making his boxing debut. Here is the multi-talented former NFL star receiver, Chad Ochocinco Johnson.
Cameras in the ceiling, Celine on my arm. We get ghosts.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring them to the scale at this time. First, the MMA and bare knuckle brawler from Roanoke, Virginia. Onto the scale, here is Brian Maxwell.
Chad side? Yeah. 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 I tell her meet me in the bathroom. I go out of order, running her for knocking at the door, and she's screaming out, I'm coming in.
Brian Maxwell weighs in at 183.5 pounds, 183.5 pounds. And now we invite to the scale at this time. Once again, he'll be making his boxing debut. The popular, multi-talented, 6-time Pro Bowler, the one and only Chad Ochocinco Johnson.
The Rock in the building. Khalid. Ramel. Pharrell in the house.
Chad Ochocinco Johnson weighs in at 179.5 pounds, already 179.5 pounds.
Wake up in the morning feeling live. God must be really on my side. Got the baddest people by my side. Cash make the people come alive. Everybody know I set the vibe. Bet I steal your boots like it's a crime. All my ones come from doing time. Hands in the air, we testify. Thank God that I'm alive. I've been popping all my life. It's like my birthday.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, opening us up our pay-per-view event taking place tomorrow night, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Available pay-per-view, FanMio, and Showtime pay-per-view.
Heard you be talking to 12, but I do not fuck with them guys. No. First time I see me a bill, I thought it was gold in my eye. Yes. The coupe all red inside. Duplex shot outside. We not feeling your vibe. Yo, played out, retired.
Here with Chad Johnson. You said we wouldn't see the Ochocinco during fight week. You're out of your element. You respect the game. Now that you've been on the scale and facing off, do you feel like a real fighter?
Yeah, because I lost 20 pounds. 20 pounds, man. But I'm enjoying the moment. I want to thank Leonard. I want to thank Floyd for the opportunity. Obviously, those that do know me, I'm always willing to try stuff. I'm not scared to fail in front of the world. I might win. I might not. It's about taking chances, and that's what I've been doing all my life. And that's what we're going to do Sunday.
You got 4 rounds to show us what you got, and a real fighter, Brian Maxwell, standing across from you. What's the key to victory for number 85?
The key to victory? Keep your fucking hands up.
Best of luck to you.
Well, fans, here we go. The time has come from the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, to bring out our fighters for the weigh-in for our main event of the evening. Once again, brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, Fan Mio, Mav Athletics, and Showtime Pay-Per-View. Please welcome the fighters now as they come to the stage. First, the acclaimed worldwide social media sensation. He'll be making his Showtime debut. Here is the multi-talented Logan, the Maverick Paul. And now, ladies and gentlemen, his opponent is a legend of the sport of boxing, undefeated in 50 professional bouts, the Hall of Famer, the one and the only Floyd Money Mayweather.
The streets going crazy.
I got the streets going crazy. I got the freeze going crazy. And I get stuck on the days. She call me a coupe 180. And all these big asses right around my neck. I tell her gon' do something. Put my trunk in the hood, pull up in the hood. They tell me I'm going too crazy. Hey, my bitch is rockin' shit, they ain't my.
All right, fans, here we go. Let's bring our fighters to the scale. At this time, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds of boxing. First onto the scale, the worldwide sensation looking to shock the world. With a background in wrestling, boxing, and just about anything outrageous. Onto the scale, please welcome Logan, the Maverick Paul.
Fiesta.
189.5 pounds, 189.5 pounds for Logan, the Maverick Paul.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the scale from Las Vegas, Nevada. Truly one of the all-time greats of the sport, the 11-time 5-division champion of the world, the undefeated Floyd Money Mayweather.
Lil CC on the beat. Yeah. I mean, where should I really even start?
155 even pounds for Floyd Money Mayweather. 155 pounds. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's showtime! The main event of the evening. Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul. 8 rounds of boxing in an exhibition. Brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, Fan Mio, Mav Athletics, and Showtime Pay-Per-View.
Logan Paul, one more sleep to the biggest fight of your life. You've been a disruptor, but you've been confident the whole way. What'd you learn from looking into Floyd's eyes ahead of this big fight?
He not ready. He don't know what to expect. And this is not the biggest fight of my life. This is the biggest fight of his life because he's got a lot on the line and he got everything to lose. I'm going to go in there and have fun. The fact that I'm even up here proves this shit is a simulation. None of it's real. The aliens are coming in June. Just be ready. Tomorrow, I break the fucking simulation and beat the greatest boxer in the history of the planet.
We want to know, how do you do it? Some people giving you a puncher's chance, some people giving you no chance. How do you upset the apple cart?
I'm going to get it done. It's a fight. Anything can happen. Floyd's not ready. That's all I can say.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Floyd, you've been here many times. You've been perfect. How different is this compared to everything you've accomplished in your career?
I've been here before, so I know what it takes. I fought every different style you could possibly fight. Height don't win fights. Weight don't win fights. Fighting wins fights at the end of the day, and I can fight.
Some people think maybe you're looking for the knockout, revenge, got your head, all that ridiculousness. How does Sunday night end?
Once again, I'm not worried about a hat. I don't worry about what nobody say. One thing I can do, I can fight. I've been at the top level for 25 years, so I know what it takes when it's a fight of this magnitude.
Much respect, champ. Best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Trying to get her money, she was 19. Moving to Miami was a life's dream. They told her she could end up on a white screen. She liked it, she thought she was lightning. Stacy got the brib in a brand new bag. Going up good, so she can't look back. Going up fast, so she can't look back.
Are you working out here soon? Working
Yeah.
like doing your shows?
Yeah.
All right, nothing to it but to do it at this point. The weights are official. Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul, they have weighed in. They have faced off. The only thing left is to fight. Hello, everyone. This is the Mayweather versus Paul weigh-ins. Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, Brendan Schaub, and at the end of the row here, a very special guest, 2017 NBA champion, California legend, and one half of All the Smoke podcast, also on Showtime. It's Matt Barnes. Matt, how are you?
Thanks for having me, fellas. I'm good.
All right, you were by the stage, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you saw.
I just love the energy. You know, the fact that we have a YouTube guy got Floyd Mayweather, the greatest fighter of all time, to come out here and actually, whether it's exhibition, whatever it is, put these gloves on and fight. I think it's a great energy for boxing, and I'm excited about tomorrow night.
It's kind of weird, though, right? Because you played the basketball at the highest level.
Right.
People can't troll their way onto the Lakers.
Right.
It's a little different.
And I'm not even mad at these Paul brothers. You know what I mean? It's all about energy and riding the wave, and they're doing a great job at it. But I think you got to be careful what you ask for, because Floyd is the greatest fighter of all time.
Master P did try to troll his way into the NBA. Okay, it didn't happen for him.
But he was pretty
good, though.
He was pretty good. We only made it to the practice squad. So.
Brandon, I want to bring you in, Brendan. I was up there. The energy was incredible. I didn't see something we talked about in the build. I didn't see Logan push him. I didn't see Jake parachute in. I didn't see the hat come off of Floyd's head. Is that a loss, or does that tell you he's here to do what he's going to do Sunday night, his fight?
It gets real once you do the weigh-ins. There's no backing down. No, I think it's real for Logan Paul here. He looked in phenomenal shape.
Yeah,
though,
he did,
didn't
right?
he? He looked great.
Looked big.
His traps were up to the ceiling. I was like, my man has diced to the socks over
now,
here.
to that point, too, Floyd looked really good. So it's not like Floyd looked, it's like, oh, it's an older Floyd. Floyd looked pretty damn good, too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, BC. I believe at 155 is what Floyd weighed in at. That's the heaviest he's ever weighed in.
151.5 for the Canelo fight in 2013.
Right.
But even at the 154 limit, which he won world titles multiple times, he would always come in there as basically a little bloated welterweight, walking around weight. I mean, the guy's a tremendous athlete, 24/7, 8 days a week for that guy. I mean, we talk about the crossover element, Matt. Casual boxing fans aren't loving this.
Right.
They're watching. They're watching, though.
Absolutely.
They're watching. But you're a guy of many backgrounds. When this first gets announced, you fired up?
I just to kind of figure out what it was, you know what I mean, and obviously being in the Showtime family and kind of understanding the energy and talking to them. I mean, this, like I said, this is a wave, and whether people like it or not, it's bringing eyeballs to boxing. Whether you respect it or not, it's bringing attention. And I think overall it's good for the sport, because boxing kind of, it's kind of been floating on the radar for a while. And I think stuff like this, although it's not a real fight, it's going to continue to bring eyeballs and continue to bring eyeballs to the real fights when they take place.
Like NBA fights, right? It brings eyeballs, bro. I mean, come on,
NBA
right?
fights, yeah, it makes headlines.
NBA pushing matches.
Yeah, right?
Well, not when it's between players and the fans, which is getting a little close these days.
Where it gets a little dicey. I'll see Logan and Floyd. This can be great. But what's a little strange, like Chad Ochocinco, like he can play football, he can play basketball, he can play soccer. He can't play fighting. So when I see Chad Ochocinco up there, I hate the matchup for him.
Yeah.
I think that's going to deter a lot of celebrities from, if they see that happen to Chad, which might happen tomorrow night, I think it's going to deter a lot of them.
Nate Robinson got the fade, right?
I think what people, and I hit the mitt sometimes, and I think what people have to understand is, like Brandon said, these guys are professionals for a reason.
Right.
Like, I was a professional athlete, I was a professional NBA player, so to step into someone else's, that's why you see Chad being respectful and humble, because I think he understands that, but at the same time it's dangerous. These guys practice fighting for a living with their hands, and Chad was practicing catching footballs, and I shot basketball, so I always have a lot of respect for people who make the effort to cross over, but it's also dangerous because you are stepping in for people who train to fight for a living.
All right, before you go here real quickly, Matt Barnes, give me an NBA player who could have been an amazing boxer or fighter.
David West. I know David West boxed a lot. I played with him on Golden State in 2007. I know he was someone who consistently boxed. Like I said, I was on and off for training throughout my career, but never consistent enough to really take it seriously. But boxing is a hell of a workout. But one guy they said that really boxed a lot was David West.
I thought you were going to say Middle World Peace, man.
It's Charles Oakley.
I was going with
Oakley's a good one, too, yeah.
Oakley's got those heavy hands, man. Those handshakes will crumble your hands.
I would, RIP, I wouldn't want to mess with Anthony Mason either. All right?
Yeah, he's probably got a grip as hell as well. All right, well, All the Smoke is going to be here tomorrow. Stackhouse will join us as well, right? I'm sure he'll be there.
Yeah, he gets in a little bit. He was at his daughter's graduation out there in Dallas today, so he'll be here shortly.
And by the way, I got to say, first time seeing you in person, the tat work is phenomenal.
Thank you. I didn't know I was coming on stage, so I kind of dressed casual. So I
always
got everything out.
It starts at a suit, then it goes Don Johnson, and then Matt's just chilling over there.
That's how we go, man.
It's the eventual breakdown.
Matt, appreciate you stopping by. Can't wait to see you tomorrow and enjoy the fights.
Thank you guys for having me.
Matt Barnes,
appreciate it.
2017 NBA champion. All right, so we were talking about this. Ashley, where's Ashley? Somebody. Okay. We're just going to leave Matt on stage here. You want to help him out? There we go. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, guys, have a good one.
There you go. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it, bud. All right, so let's reset here for just a minute. Brian, you were up there. You talked to Floyd. You talked to Logan. Tell me what you saw.
I saw and felt the intensity, and that's the draw. I mean, that's the catnip. That's the drawing card. This may be a spectacle, but spectacles are fun as heck. It had that feeling. The two groups, I think, anticipated the potential for a skirmish. Right? They were tight in there. They've had their presence felt. But I saw in Floyd's face, guys, like, like he made the great line this week of this is, like a televised robbery. It's a legalized robbery. He's been here before. That guy ain't scaring him right here. That's why I say, what can you do to get Floyd Mayweather off tilt? Like barely anyone's been able to do it, elite boxer-wise. I'm saying is his only chance, meaning Logan Paul on Sunday night, to just go in there and do like street file stuff that Conor McGregor didn't do. Conor McGregor respected the sport and he came in there and boxed.
You got to make it ugly.
You got to get it gross.
But you really got to make it ugly. I think for Logan Paul too, his biggest advantage is I'm telling you, man. I know this guy. He's not scared. He's just not. To him, this is all fun and games, and he's not scared. He doesn't care, and I think that's a huge asset.
So how does he use that, though? How does he use that lack of fear?
Caution to just go out there, man. Let the guns, let the hands fly, and whatever happens, happens. But you're not going to sit back and counter punch and do all this pretty boxing.
You're going to get eaten alive doing that.
It's going to look terrible. Go in there, make it really ugly. Hopefully you land one on the way in. If not, you lose. You're going to lose anyways.
Yeah. Again, I've been saying it all week. If he lands one clean punch, you can NFT that thing on a GIF and just make millions and live off the glory of, I stole on Floyd Mayweather fair and square.
Correct. Big Brown, they're going to the bullpen here and getting some legends with the name. They got Tyron Woodley. They got Ben Askren before. I mean, does everybody have a price for the $1 Million Man?
Yeah, what's up, Brendan?
How would we get Brendan Schaub in a boxing crossover match?
When are you going to box one of the Paul brothers or whatever?
If it's a Paul brother, I'm making, the amount of money they are, it would get me back into training camp. Yeah. But listen, if you see me fighting Lamar Odom or something, things aren't going well, man. I'm not selling tickets, doing stand-up.
The thick boy merch moving.
Folded. It's a bummer when you see these other guys fighting. They have nothing else going on.
So you're out. You're no doubt.
I'm out unless Jake or Logan want to do it.
Let's quickly, before we wrap things up here, let's talk about the Jarrett Hurd fight. We briefly got into it. For the boxing aficionados, they might know a little bit, but BC, set the table a little bit for us. Jarrett Hurd, a guy who was extremely important for the 154 division, held titles, lost it to J-Rock. He did come back, but he's been off for a little while. What are you expecting from that guy?
That's what's interesting, because he's going under a little bit of an identity, not theft, but a changeover here. He was the bully, the boogeyman at 154, walked guys down, won a pair of titles, went in there blood and guts with Arislandi Lara, the fight of the year, and then just at the peak of his stardom, man, he got upset by J-Rock Williams.
In his hometown.
And he's had layoffs. He lost his father over the last year, which was a big part of who he was, a man and a boxer, obviously. And then he came back. And he beat Chio Santana on Showtime. We watched that. But he's trying to be a boxer in that fight under new trainer Kei Karoma. He does his best business in the trenches. I think Luis Arias, who is a full-size middleweight, has been in there with Danny Jacobs, Selechki, guys that, big-time experience. He's going to want to fight. And I think we're going to see the old Jarrett.
Let me ask you guys this. So when the main event is Floyd and Logan, how do you feel about these legit, Hurd legit, man?
Super legit, yeah.
There's two legit fights on there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those going on the same
card? So
card?
I'll tell you this. I don't think anyone's figured out the right formula for this. And I think Showtime is trying. Triller tried. Everyone's trying. What's the right balance of legit fight with sideshow? Let's just call it what it is. And so how do you mix the two together in a way that's palatable to a wide enough audience? And the question is, what is the audience? Does the audience want real boxing? Do they just want the fluff? I don't think anyone has a real clear read on how exactly to package it. Tomorrow, my understanding is it will be a little bit, it'll feel like a traditional boxing broadcast, but with some elevated fun. You're going to be Mario Lopez, for example.
I'm on there. I'm a giant Mario Lopez.
A huge Mario Lopez.
So it's not that serious.
We tried to mix live music with boxing. That sometimes works. A lot of times
that was just for the weigh-ins. I don't think there's any live music tomorrow.
Maybe we can mix stand-up comedy. Maybe you can open for Floyd. That's not a bad gig.
That's
not a bad gig.
That's not bad. It's going to be a tough crowd.
That's a tough 10 minutes. crowd. That's very hard to do. Still, I wonder.
It's interesting, right? I don't know the.
What do you mean?
Meaning putting real, when you put those legit fights on there.
The question is, how much do you want to see of one versus the other? What does the audience expect?
Correct.
Because, the Logan Paul audience, that's not the Jarrett Hurd
They're
audience.
not into it.
Not even close.
They're not into it.
But can they be converted? Could it be interesting? Like maybe that's the real boxing you get attached to. You just kind of sort of notice the main event because it's obviously grabbing everyone's attentions. But maybe Jarrett Hurd does something to.
And we don't want to gloss over the co-feature. as well.
Real quickly though, I just want to say I just feel like I tend to think that it's good exposure for the the real dyed-in-the-wool boxers, but I don't think this meaningfully makes boxing more popular. I think it makes this event popular, but I think boxing to get popular, you got to get your Furies and your Wilders,
Correct.
you got to get your Charlos in work, you got to get things like that. Your Canelos.
I'm just sick of the narrative, though, as a boxing guy in my core, that this is, over the top bad for boxing. If it's making a mockery of the sport and the fights are not competitive, it can be you can argue what it is. But it's a rising tide, picking up all the boats thing. I mean, how do you not see it as that? It brings more eyeballs on the actual sport.
Let's play
that
devil's
can be a
advocate.
runoff effect, creating new fans. I'm not saying you live and die by this. As you always say, Showtime's got a business model,
right?
And then they do fun stuff like this.
That's
right. Under that guise. How many people in your life that aren't boxing fans are talking about this fight this week? I mean, it's out of control.
Well, yeah, I can't remember the last time. Maybe Conor Floyd, since I've been hit up by casuals or family members I've never talked to.
Yeah, that's
asked me about this fight.
Yeah, my dad even asked me about it. He said, "Yeah, I know."
He wants nothing to do with your career.
Dude, you know how good those shout out to BD and the team. Those countdown videos, they're so good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
My mom called me like, I like this Logan kid for this. I'm like, Mom, stop.
Does your mom doesn't know you're boys with him?
She does. She doesn't care.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't care. She really thinks he has a shot. I'm like, man, those videos are really working.
I know.
Man.
I don't have the odds in front of me. I would love to get a sense of where they are today. When we spoke yesterday, Floyd is a favorite, a sizable one, minus 900. But, we and I had discussed, it's like, shouldn't that be like minus 9,000?
It really should.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
The key bet here is not winning or losing. I suspect for the gamblers out there, it's the round. The prop bet on the round is where it's
You're
gonna
doing
go.
a great job selling it, believe me.
Listen, I'm just trying to tell you where it goes.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. Like if as a better, like my boy Todd, who bets all the time, is like, do I just put he's a wealthy dude. He's just put 50 G's on Floyd? I go, no, don't do that. Again, there's the problem.
I told Showtime before they sent me down here. Listen, I'm here to have a good time. Listen to Floyd himself. It's entertainment. It's fun. It doesn't go in his record either way. But I'm not going to pretend that Logan Paul's got some amazing chance. He doesn't.
But here's the thing. He is a man. He's got a puncher's chance. Whatever you want to label that.
Yeah, but so do you.
Okay. Am I trying to talk you into him? No. But can I transition here? Can I be a professional? When you look at it though, what would the world's axis would turn upside down? Maybe like people would freeze. Maybe zombies would return out. What would the first freaking 1 hour on social media be like if Logan Paul did the impossible?
I haven't even thought about it. It's a great question. I haven't even thought about it.
What's the last time you watched something that was an insane upset? Any sport, insane upset. I'm trying to think.
I mean, Rousey against Holly Holm had that
was insane.
over and didn't think
that was the one time where I was like jaw dropping, like whoa.
Yes.
That was the last time.
But of course, Holly Holm was a real fighter and was a kickboxing and boxing expert. So that was a completely different scenario.
Joshua, Andy Ruiz, even though that fight was
that's a good one.
That's a good one,
I would say that's the last one because, Joshua, he's this monster, and Ruiz a late placement. You're like, hey, who's this fat Mexican dude?
I know.
And he beats his ass. You're like, whoa, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was Chunk from the Goonies, but he certainly did extraordinarily well.
But the difference with all this, and I even talked to someone earlier ago, it's kind of like a Buster Douglas situation. Right? I go, it's not though. It's even bigger than that. The odds should be even more than that.
I know.
Because Buster Douglas is a Philly, like hardcore, grew up in boxing gyms, had hundreds of fights, and then fought Mike Tyson.
That's right.
It's different.
Buster was an underachiever. That's really what happened, and he put it together.
Okay, but he was a high-level professional boxer. Even by the time that him and Mike got together, that's not necessarily Logan's situation.
Well, look, you've been around sports a long time. You're a respected journalist.
Am I?
Logan said this is the biggest upset potential in the history of sports. It would be. How do you respond to that?
I don't think that's wrong. I mean, to me, it is utterly implausible that would happen, if I could just be candid.
And that's why it'd be the biggest of all, by far the biggest of all time.
I struggle to think of a guy who is a rank amateur beats one of the most legendary boxers to ever live. Yeah, that would be up there with the level of, I don't even know.
No, it's never been done. It would be the biggest upset in the history of the world, and it will never be done again.
There's Leonard Ellerby over there.
Hey. What's up, brother?
There he is. Leonard, smiling ear to ear at all times. Happiest man on earth right there. He's the best. How long does it go tomorrow? What round? Oh!
Yeah.
He won't give us much.
He wouldn't give us that.
Yeah, he was a big guy. How much bigger when you were there next to them did Logan look?
He was exceptionally bigger. I mean, that's one thing about the fight that's so unique that you think, is sellable. Putting those two next to each other for a face-off. I mean, Logan Paul's ripped. You're going to give him that. I don't care.
He's jacked. I'll give him to. He's jacked.
He's jacked. He looks phenomenal. Anybody who knows boxing like you guys do, size isn't, especially with a guy who doesn't have his boxing background. Logan Paul could be 300 pounds of pure muscle, and size is not a factor here in any facet.
You know what this feels?
Unless, again, to your point, he throws caution to the wind and lands one, then size might be a factor.
Do you know what this feels like? And if you're a boxing fan, you can just look it up on YouTube. Feels like a little like UFC 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we have this boxer versus this guy.
He's got one glove on.
One glove. Yeah, he's got maybe he'll come in there Art Jimerson style.
Why is Keith Hackney punching that guy in the groin? Come on.
But don't you feel like it's like, I don't know how else to explain the weirdness in sports without using that as the analog.
100%.
You really can't compare this. There's very little comparison on there. We know that Floyd is so damn calculated. He sees the future. He's got more foils, the potential of Jake, whatever. Do you think Conor is his next big one that he might chase? We asked him about that on the other day at the press conference, and he said, easy.
For Floyd?
Yeah. Is it
100%? Yeah, I think that's just a matter of time happening.
You think so?
I really do.
It would. To what extent does it matter whether Conor wins or loses against Dustin Poirier?
It's kind of like that Nate Diaz trilogy fight. That thing's always going to be there. We're going to get that. You can get Conor versus Floyd again, I would assume.
I'd have to think a loss to Dustin Poirier on July 10th, and their trilogy brings Conor closer to this fold.
I also think you're going to get a Conor Jake Paul.
You think that's what it's building towards?
Mm-hmm. That might be the.
What do you think about that?
That might be the biggest. I mean, it's hard to say that because Floyd's not in that conversation. Floyd brings bigger numbers than anyone, but that might be the biggest fight you can make in this realm of boxing.
I think Jake Paul Conor beats Floyd versus Conor pay-per-view.
Wow,
that's a bet right there. That's a bet.
That would be. I will take that
Not
bet.
in money, though. We're going to bet hard-ass boosts like above the rim.
Especially if Jake is 2-0, say he starches Woodley, then they give him another big guy, starches him, and then Conor comes over.
These are a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
I'm not really.
A little bit.
2 fights.
Yeah, but he's got to do certain things in a very particular kind of way.
It is fun to map out the future pro wrestling style. It's very fun.
I know.
It's very fun.
The pro wrestling it just kills me.
That's the world we're in.
Very quickly, one more time. You did also interview Chad Johnson up there. Now, we have seen him all week. To me, he's looked, I don't want to say not like himself because I don't know him as a person, but the entertainer that we see on SportsCenter in all these years, that's not been the guy here this week. Although this time, he looked to be in tremendous shape.
He's in tremendous shape. I felt confidence, if you're asking me what I felt in the interview. But you have to ask yourself, ahead of the game, playing armchair quarterback ahead of the game, is he respecting the sport too much? Would he have a bigger edge, and only he knows as an athlete, would he come in there with a bigger edge and more confidence if he did the Ocho Cinco stuff, or if he comes in there humble, happy to be here, respecting the game, thank you for having me? We're going to find out, right? I mean, it's 4 rounds to tell us if he's a real fighter or not. Things can go really bad. There's ways to win without winning. But, what was it like to you to fire yourself up? I feel like you got to be a con man as a fighter, right? You got to talk yourself into something.
I think Chad Ochocinco should have sold this more. Him being subdued and kind of this laid-back guy, I know he's in uncharted territories. I hate the matchup from I don't know who his management team is. For a guy for his first fight to fight a guy who decided to do bare knuckle, obviously has a few screw loose. It's a tough fight for him, man.
Hey, Paige Van Zant's doing bare knuckle, all right? She's good.
I'll refrain from comment.
Thanks. Fighting Ostovich, I will buy that.
Yeah.
Speaking of buying,
for other
a good transitional point.
See that transition there?
let me just sort of remind the audience here. You can go and buy the pay-per-view now. It is a relaxed price point. It is usually for Floyd. I think he said the last time he fought it was $100. This time it's half that, $50, $49.99. You can see the URL down there, sho.com/pay-per-view. You can go ahead and buy now. It'll be a Sunday night attraction. 8 p.m. in the East is when things kick off, and they kick off on the pay-per-view with Chad Ochocinco taking on Ryan Maxwell.
I'm nervous for him.
What are you going to be doing all
I'm Mario Lopez. I'm a thick Mario Lopez.
Give me an example of what that means.
It means high school wrestler.
I'm going to turn the chair backwards. Yeah. No, I'll be in a lot of makeup. I'll be in a suit, and then I'll be going around interviewing the celebrities. Then I'll be in the locker room with Logan Paul interviewing him before he walks out.
No Floyd pre-fight interview?
No Floyd. Deuces Mero's doing Floyd.
Oh, okay. All right. That sounds fine.
Now, you hang with a high circle. You got there. You earned it. Is there anybody that you could be Star Trek? What if they say, hey,
Tom Brady for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was Star Trek? Yeah?
The GOAT? I'd be a little nervous. I'd be cool, though.
He seems friendly. You know?
Yeah, he does.
Like the guy who was on the boat who was tossing the Lombardi.
Yeah, I want that. Tom
Yeah,
Brady. He's all hammered.
He's like 5 White Claws deep. That's the one you want right there.
Yeah,
right?
then what if he's like, why don't you and I fight, Shaw? I'm like, all right, Showtime. And
Yeah,
then
see, you could be talked into it then, couldn't you?
I'm into it,
Yeah,
dog.
you versus Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's a good one. Tom Brady for sure if he's there.
Okay, well, we can't wait to see tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. Wish you the best of luck. Please don't wear an outrageous suit, but not like super
No,
outrageous.
go for it.
The pants are a little outrageous.
Antonio Montana. Come on, it's Miami. Come on, bro.
Unbelievably tight?
They're pretty tight. They're cropped up. You see some ankles. They got Gucci prints all over
They're his
them.
hotel pants. No ballroom. All right.
All right. Well, with that, okay. On that note, we'll probably get fired. One more reminder. Tomorrow night. Of course, the fights are not tonight. They will be tomorrow. They'll be here in Miami, Florida. If you would like to buy the pay-per-view one more time, you can see the URL there below on the screen. SHOW.com/pay-per-view. It's 1/2 of the cost of what it normally is to see Floyd Mayweather fight. Of course, it should be. This is a different kind of a thing, but it's a nice, relaxed price point for all the folks out there. Okay? All right. Well, we've really enjoyed you guys tuning in. This has been one hell of a week.
We got Trick Daddy. We had Trick Daddy.
We had
right?
Trick
Come
Daddy.
on.
He didn't play Trick Love the Kids, though.
He didn't, but I felt like,
Unreal.
you got to grade him on a curve. It's fine. I got what I was looking for out of Trick Daddy.
Don't talk about his figure. Talking about curves.
I said no words about that
he's a legend.
whatsoever.
All right? He's a legend, please.
Trick Daddy's
All right.
60.
All right.
The black was as slimming as it could have been, the shirt,
I'm already in trouble with enough famous people this week.
All
Okay,
right.
I don't need.
We got to get out of here. For Brendan Schaub, that's Brian Campbell. I'm Luke Thomas. We thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at the fights.
Somebody's taking an L, Luke. Okay, somebody's going to come away with big-time bragging rights. We've never seen an event like this before.
Is it going to be mayhem? Is it going to be mystery?
All the jokes and got your head aside. You got to box this man, Floyd Mayweather.
Yes, sir.
Do you brawl him? Do you attack him? How do you make up that difference?
Fight my heart out.
Floyd is a career welterweight, but he's fighting a guy who could be 40 to 50 pounds heavier, who's 6 inches taller. The reach is 4 inches longer. The age is 18 years younger.
I don't worry about size, height, arm length, weight. Floyd Mayweather, I'm the best. This is what I do.
I love this. This is me in my element. Like, this is what I came out to Hollywood to do when I started making videos on YouTube.
I'm fighting a YouTuber who thinks he's a real fighter.
It doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter who your opponent is. If they throw a hard enough punch and if it lands, it counts.
We're going to beat Floyd in his own game.
Anything can happen.
So we'll just see.
Bragging Rights, Sunday, June 6th, live on pay-per-view.
I cannot explain how ready I am. When you're so fucking prepared mentally and physically, mentally. Bro, we had 8 months to mentally prepare for this shit. Like, I'm in.
I don't think he's ready. See how short he is? He's not ready. He's too short. Right here.
Team Paul touchdown in Miami. Showtime, baby. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Logan Paul.
Hey, where were you when Logan Paul beat Floyd Mayweather?
In Miami.
That's the question. That's the question. For years to come. Where were you when Logan Paul beat Floyd Mayweather? Everyone's gonna remember. It's a dream come true.
Nice work.
Light work.
Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Light work, baby, light work.
Why'd you succeed where Canelo and McGregor failed? Bigger, taller, younger, stronger, faster. Nothing to lose.
We're expecting you to be 30 pounds heavier than Floyd. Has he made a mistake by agreeing to that?
Of course. Why do you think there's weight classes in boxing?
Does he have the power to knock someone as big as you out?
I'm sure, you know.
Is it personal between you and Floyd after he punched your brother at the announcement?
Nah, my brother deserved that. He did. It got personal after the punch when he threatened to kill him.
Beautiful. There we go. There we go. That's the routine.
I feel great, bro.
Done. Yes, sir.
So excited, so ready. Like, so fucking ready. This whole shit is surreal. Like, you know, everything about it. And I told my manager, we kind of had an inside joke that until I was in the ring with him, I didn't believe this fight was happening. I can believe it now, you know? I'm excited, man.
Welcome back, my friend. Listen, don't worry about that. You can put me in a double. I'm not gonna trip. I'm on a mission to do one thing. Kick ass.
Here he comes. Greatest boxer of our generation, Floyd Mayweather.
I've been a professional 25 years, then fought the best, then seen every style, and always came out on top.
Floyd, I gotta say, Conor McGregor, Tenshin Nasukawa, and now Logan Paul. Dude, you're making a killing fighting these guys after your decorated career.
Yes.
This is all, what is this, gravy for your life? How do you view this chapter of your life?
Wait, okay. The boxing was the mashed potatoes. These guys now is the gravy.
It's the gravy, okay.
Absolutely.
Are you fighting for boxing in a sense? Do you feel like you're the hero going into this one?
I don't really want to say the hero.
Is your legacy at risk on Sunday night? If he knocks you down, do you think we'll leave a little stain on your legacy?
No, I can't believe it. This is fucking crazy.
Boy, what's the strategy heading into the fight?
No strategy. I'm Floyd Mayweather. I am the strategy.
Do you know who you're fighting?
Floyd Mayweather's a pretty big name.
He's the biggest name in boxing.
That's what they've been saying.
What are you gonna do?
Beat his ass.
I'm glad he got confidence. I'm glad he believes in himself. I'm glad he believes in his skills. Last time I checked, all 50 fighters that I faced, they all said the same thing.
It's everything I ever imagined and dreamed of. And yeah, it's amazing.
If we had judges, if we didn't have judges, it's always gonna work out. It's always gonna work out in my favor.
Small man, you quit in 6. What do you feel, champ?
My team ride with me when the lights is dim. See, the lights ain't never went out. We just turned it back up, and then everybody hard. Like I told you before, I'm here to stay. I ain't going nowhere. Absolutely, I don't respect them. I want to show them there's a difference between real elite boxing and YouTube boxing. I'm not doing this to prove nothing. I'm just having fun.
like moving around. I like moving around. I like moving around.